Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome to all the members who have tuned in for today's session, which is Open House on QSB guidelines. I am Abhishek Varalkar, part of the domestic member relationship team, and with me we have our colleagues from regulatory team. We have Mr. Piyush Chaurasia, who is the Chief Regulatory Officer, NSE, and we have Renu Bandari, who is part of our inspection/regulatory team. While the background to this session is to provide clarity with regards to the recent obligations and responsibilities for QSBs, the idea here is to hold these kind of sessions on a more frequent basis so that we are able to engage with you and then probably seek your feedback as we move further, as we progress further. So as you all know, this is a live session, so you can keep on posting your queries or any questions that you have. In the meantime, we have received around 18 to 20 odd questions which we would kickstart with, and whatever questions that we get as we progress further, we'll be happy to take that as well. So with that, I think let's probably just quickly get into the question number one. So question number one from one of the members that we have received is, it's mentioned that the framework may be extended by considering additional parameters, that is compliance score, proprietary trading volumes, etc. Can you please explain more or dwell on this, on the possible criteria for those parameters?
So as all of you are aware that last time when we had designated the qualified stockbrokers, we looked at the client assets, the margins, brokers are having number of clients. So it was already mentioned in the circular that next year they'll be looking at compliance score and proprietary trading as well. So this year when we start selecting or designating these QSBs, we will also look at the compliance score, which would be comprising of the penalties we are levying to brokers, which are QSBs, and their investor grievance redressal score, and of course the proprietary trading volume, whosoever is doing that proprietary trading. So these parameters we will be
Additional
considering while we designate the QSBs for the next year.
And that would be as of December end, right? The year ending December?
Yeah, we will be announcing most likely in January. So end of December we will be finalizing in coordination with SEBI and other exchanges.
Got it. The second question here is, QSBs which doesn't belong to the revised list are required to comply for additional period of 3 financial years. Will that discontinued QSB need to continue complying for all the requirements, or are there any specific or selective parameters?
No, there is no selective parameters. These QSBs who will not be a part of QSB in the next year, they will have to comply with all the requirements which are mentioned in this circular and the circular which we issued on detailed guidelines and SOP for next 3 years.
Thanks, Renu. Moving on to the next question, stipulated parameters for QSB include total number of active clients of stockbroker and available total assets of clients with the stockbroker. Do these active clients and available assets considered only for stockbroking clients or other non-broking clients where the broker also caters to certain other financial products as well?
See, currently we are designated these brokers as qualified stockbrokers considering everything related to broking business. So currently it is all the clients who are associated as broker and the assets they are holding as a broker, because this is a qualified stockbrokers. If they are catering to other businesses, other financial intermediaries like PMS, etc., that is different. That is not being considered.
That is not part of this?
No.
Okay. Thanks Renu. This is very helpful. Moving on to the next question. Is it okay if common person is part and made responsible of different committees of similar nature? Example, IT committee and cyber security committee.
See, nowhere actually either we have barred or SEBI has barred that the same person cannot be in both the committees, because one is IT committee and other is cyber, related to again infrastructure and everything related to technology. So it can be same, but all the members should not be same, because at least few experts on the IT side and cyber side should be simultaneously there on each of the committees.
Okay, that answers. Moving on to next, QSBs are advised to also take care of general risk due to outsourcing of activities to third parties. Please guide on any specific such outsourced activities related to stockbroking.
So we already had issued a circular way back in 2011, subsequent to SEBI circular, which was given for outsourcing of activities which are core activities should not be outsourced by the members. So similarly, this also applies to QSBs as well, because it is already in place, and the related activities are mainly compliance related or risk management which they are doing. It is a core activity of the broking business, therefore these things should not be outsourced, but the comprehensive list is provided in the circular, which is of 2011.
So members need to refer to 2011 circular for getting or fetching further details on this one. But as Renu highlighted, certain core activities like RMS, compliance, these cannot be outsourced. Moving on to the next question. QSBs are required to analyze pattern of trading done by clients where exchange has prescribed to monitor specific alerts on a daily stroke monthly basis. But the reporting is to be done on a quarterly manner. Are QSBs required to report clients which has appeared even once in the quarter, or they need to be part of this daily monthly monitoring itself?
See, if they are fitting into the patterns, etc., we have identified, then even if it is coming once or twice, doesn't matter. If the pattern is identified, then they have to be reported under the surveillance obligations.
Okay. I think the next question is probably alluding to the same one with this one. Can it be an issue if some concentrated contribution is observed in case of new existing contracts or segments which overall has limited liquidity or limited participation from QSB?
See, nowhere,
so I think basically they are referring to.
So nowhere it has been exempted that if it is a new contract or anything is coming new, should be exempted. So while performing surveillance activities, everything has to be considered on the same.
See, in some cases explicitly we have said that what you should do. For instance, in case of derivative contracts, if it's an index derivative, if any client has more than 15% OI, even if it's a new contract, then the member is supposed to take a confirmation of the client, written communication, file with the clearing corporation. So those are explicitly mentioned as per SEBI circulars.
Okay.
But other than that, also you need to keep track of if there is any excessive position build up. They need to be cognizant of why it's happening in particular contracts.
Thank you, Piyush. Moving on to next, this is with regards to training frequency. Now the training frequency requirement is stipulated to be conducted for employees in critical and non-critical departments. Please clarify if we are allowed to arrange them in-house or in-house person itself.
Completely, it's a decision of QSB. If they want to do in-house, it's okay. If they want to call on some expert to have more clarity, it is good to have as a good corporate governance.
Okay, got it. So this is clear. Moving on to the next question. I'll just request, in case if there are any further questions, please keep on posting it onto the portal. We are able to see it while I'm seeing a few more, which is like 6 or 7. But just humble request, if there are any further questions, please keep on posting it. We'll come to that in a bit. Requirement says a CXO level officer shall be designated as responsible for managing key risks, that is CCO, CISO, CRO, etc. Can a designated or a non-designated director be appointed for such particular role?
See, anybody who is at this level, whether it is a director or other key managerial persons, if they are at a CXO level, they can be designated.
Anyone at a CXO level can be appointed. Thanks, Renu. This helps. Just moving on next. QSBs at all times are required to maintain adequate technical capacity to process 2 times the peak transaction load during the preceding financial year. QSBs are also required to have business continuity set up via DR site. Does it mean both primary and DR sites are required to maintain 2 times the peak transaction load infrastructure?
So anytime we are looking at primary site which is required 2 times the peak load, so therefore we require on the DR site as well, because anytime we require, we should be able to handle such load if it is required. So it is for both.
So it is for both. Yeah, I think DR site anyways, they should be able to switch over within 60 minutes, right? Yeah. So technically you should be prepared for both. Thank you. Just moving on to the next question, which is question number 11. It says a dedicated team of security analysts are required, which may include domain experts in the field of cybersecurity and resilience, network security and data security. Please confirm that we can appoint such external consultants to carry out these related activities.
So whenever we are creating such kind of committees, we can have experts, but it should not be all experts only, because ultimately we have to go by outsourcing circular as well, because the circular is issued in 2011 itself. Since then it is binding on all the brokers also. So if we are hiring anybody from outside, then it should not happen that all the members are only outsiders. It should be comprising of the subcommittee of the board and such members, plus the external experts.
Members. So as Renu has highlighted, it should be a mix of both subcommittee, board members and external members as well, and not restricted only to the external members. The next question is on VAPT. VAPT reporting is applicable for regular stockbrokers as well. Does that mean that VAPT requirements for QSB is the same as that for other stockbrokers, or are there any separate QSB VAPT submission which is required?
So as we have clarified while issuing clarification or SOP for QSB, we said that for brokers who are QSBs, VAPT has to be done twice a year. So it has to be on a half-yearly basis. Now since for QSBs it has to be half-yearly basis, and this year being the first year, they have already conducted the VAPT in September to November last year. So therefore after November, which is since December up till now, up till September, they can do for a longer period, which will be more than a half year, and subsequently every half year they'll have to do.
Okay.
But the requirement is 2 times instead of 1 time, which is for the other brokers.
I think that clarifies. So the requirement is for 2 times, that needs to be conducted 2 times a year, as against other brokers, which is once in a year. The next question number 13 is on BCP. QSB is asked to run one full trading day from DR site every quarter. It is also asked to ensure alternate means of communication to be completed within 60 minutes from time of disruption. As the DR run would be pre-decided, is it okay if clients are communicated in advance about the same?
Yeah, so client should be upfront intimated in advance that if any time they have to switch to DR site, how they will be communicating, what would be the mode of communication. They can be intimated in advance.
Thank you, Renu. I think the next question pertains to investor services, including complaint redressal mechanism. So we have received a question from QSB stating that QSBs must have investor service centers in all the cities where they have branches. Is it okay if service center is set up in branch premises itself? That's question number 1. And question number 2 is, if there are multiple branches in the same city, only one service center per city, if that is okay.
So sure, they can have actually the investor service center in the branch itself. That's not at all completely an issue. And if in one city they have more branches, they can have one center per city, because it has been prescribed that one center per city, and they can have actually. If they have more branches in one city, they can have one center.
Okay, so thanks for clarifying. So you can set it up in the branch premise. That's very well permitted. And if you have multiple branches within the city, then one center per city is permitted.
But there should be dedicated people who are catering to the queries, complaints which are received from investors.
From the investors. That's well noted. I think the second question is obvious question. Can escalation procedures be centralized only, or has it to be at every investor service center?
See, I would suggest that escalation should be till the main office, which is kind of corporate office they must be calling. But it should start from branch itself. So wherever they are having investor service center, first there should be some hierarchy within that branch itself, and then it should percolate to the corporate office, and it should also be displayed on their website, so that anytime anybody would like to contact any of the city investor service center, then they can have the escalation metrics till central office.
Well noted. Thanks, Renu. Moving on to the next question. In original SEBI guideline, it was mentioned that stock exchange in consultation with SEBI shall carry out an annual inspection. In exchange guidelines dated 1st of July, annual inspection mention is not being specifically done, or probably it's not mentioned, and monthly and quarterly information furnishing is quoted. Please clarify if annual inspection will be additionally carried out by the stock exchanges.
Actually, this circular which we recently issued, it's just a clarification on certain aspects which were issued by SEBI. This is very crystal clear in the main circular itself, that inspection of QSBs have to be done jointly. So we would be, all the exchanges together would be doing with SEBI the inspection of QSBs. This would be in addition to whatever we are taking now on a monthly or a quarterly or a half yearly basis.
See, whenever we issue any circular, it can only supplement the SEBI circular. It cannot, override the SEBI circular or substitute a SEBI circular.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. So thank you. I think this clarifies this particular point. Again, before we move on to the next questions, if there are any further questions, any clarity, any doubts, please keep on posting it. We are able to see it here on the portal or on the system itself. Feel free, because the idea out here is to issue or probably give clarifications or probably clear your doubts to the extent as much as possible we can. So look forward to getting your questions. So just moving on to question number 17. 9 reporting formats are prescribed by exchange for QSB compliances. Will the reporting happen over email or any member portal interface menu will be provided for the same? That's question number 1. And the second question is, any other cautionary pointers for reporting which the QSB member needs to make a note of?
Yeah. So already we were actually monitoring the top 20 systemically important brokers, and some of them are still on QSB as well. Some of them have been added because the parameters are different. So we were already taking the reporting through the portal, INIT portal, and we will continue to take through that only. And what I have suggested within our team also, we would be sending a communication. We have now recently started taking data for any on-site, off-site inspection through our inspection database, which is INIT portal, which is connected to INIT portal. So we will be taking this data also from that, so that it is a central repository also, and we will be collecting entire data through INIT portal.
Okay, through INIT portal itself.
Yeah.
And anything from a cautionary pointers, anything that members needs to be cognizant of?
Whatever data they were already submitting, like trial balance, ledgers, any document which we are asking, formats have already been prescribed in various circulars which have been issued by inspection department. So whenever they are reporting all such things, it should be strictly in the formats which have been prescribed to the exchange.
So they just have to adhere to the prescribed format, nothing specific or nothing beyond that.
And anything is there, they can reach out to us, they can reach out to team. Our numbers are with them, so anytime they can call, they can message.
Yeah. That's very important to note, as in you can always reach out to the relevant RM, the regional head, or even the inspection team. Feel free to write to us if there are any further questions, and we'll be more than happy to clarify that. So moving on to next, which is question number 18. Exchange has prescribed to submit additional details on a monthly basis. Example, client ledgers of top 20 clients in a prescribed format. But reporting of that particular piece is not being prescribed as such, or any format is not being suggested as such. Will this reporting be over? So that's point number 1. If there is any prescribed format, do they need to adhere to something, or they can just share?
So as I said, we have already given a circular earlier in 2018 itself, wherein we said that this client ledgers, the register of securities, the bank books, what should be the format of those documents. So those formats only will continue because we are taking reporting from their back office. So we are not asking them to construct anything new. It is very easily retrievable data from their back office system, which they have to do, and formats have already been prescribed to the market.
So yeah, so you have to refer to 2018 circular for the format, and nothing stringent as such, or no new, nothing which is more burdensome. data which is readily available in the back office format can be provided, can be retrieved and shared in the format which has been prescribed in the 2018 circular.
Because apart from ledgers, we have been asking now trial balance. So trial balance also is in the same format across industry.
One more question alluding to that: should the top 20 client list be a segment wise, or should it be on a consolidated basis?
Whatever we take consolidated across exchanges, across segment, because brokers have already been reporting us the balances which are across segment, across exchanges. So nothing is we require only segment wise, everything is on a consolidated
basis. Thanks, Renu. Moving on to question number 19. In connection with the previous questions, details of investment reporting is also sought on a monthly basis. Can you please explain the types and categories of investments required under this?
So we are asking all investments, whether it is a short-term investment or any long-term investment, whatever they have done, they have to report if it is under their books of accounts as broking.
Okay. So this clarifies it includes all the investments which forms part of your balance sheet. Moving on to the next question, which is under reporting of department-wise count of employees format, access control policy field is required. Can you please brief on it a little bit more, along with the possible parameters which are applicable or that the members needs to be aware of?
So I think they are referring to the formats which we have given to the market along with the guidelines we issued in June first week. So there we have said that these count of employees and give us the access control policy copy. So that copy needs to be attached to that particular column, I think they are referring to. But if they send us this query more in detail, because this is what I have understood, that they are wanting that what is to be filled in the last column. So in the last column, they have to give us the copy of the policy. Or, if anything else is there, they can reach out to us, we'll clarify.
Sure. Anything more that you want to dwell upon on this particular piece, or it's
no, this is only count of people we are asking who have been part of this.
So any further questions related to this particular point, feel free to reach out and we'll be more than happy to provide you any further clarity on this. Just moving on to certain questions that we are seeing now. One we have received from Anand Rathi, required clarification on P&L format as per circular dated June 19, 2023.
Sorry?
Yeah, Renu, you can just scroll down.
Okay.
So this is number 2, require clarification on P&L format as per circular dated June 19, 2023.
This circular, I think they are referring to risk disclosure, I think the risk disclosure document, which we have said for all the clients when they log in, they should display. And additionally, all the QSBs are required to maintain the profit and loss for all those clients associated with them. So we have sought certain clarification. I think there are some points which we are saying that this profit and loss has to be from this year or from the 18 itself, because we are in 23. So we have sought clarification from, we are seeking clarification from SEBI, and we'll come back to them.
So on this particular point, as Renu highlighted, we are seeking clarity, and once we have that particular clarity, we'll be able to furnish more details.
Because some of the brokers are saying that since it is issued now, it should be applicable from now on. And since it is for 5 years, then one assumption is that whether we go back and start maintaining from 2018 itself. But maybe some brokers may not have certain data which is required, and some the excess also is an issue. If holding of client is to be looked at, how they will have the access to the holding, and why they should have access to the holding. If DP is different for the client, how they will have the access to those holdings. So we are writing to SEBI and we'll seek.
Okay, fair point. Thanks, Renu. I think this clarifies. So once we, again, as I mentioned, once we probably have more clarity on this particular piece, we'll be able to get back. The next question is again from Globe Capital Market. With respect to minutes to be uploaded, kindly confirm whether it pertains to minutes held during the quarter or minutes approved during the quarter concerned.
So during this quarter, whatever minutes have been approved, those have to be informed to us.
Minutes which has been approved. Okay. So minutes which has been approved during the quarter needs to be considered. Thanks, Renu. Moving on to next, it's from 5 Paisa. till date we haven't got any specific portal from the exchange with regards to uploading of report. Whether it will be provided on the mails only, or will we be getting any portal from the exchange to do the necessary reporting?
So what we are doing, as I said, for on-site, off-site inspection, currently we are communicating through our inspection database. So same database we will be using for taking this information also, because it acts as repository as well.
So init. So that's
we have our inspection database which is linked to the init portal. So we will be taking it on init portal, which is for them, which comes to our database also, so that both are linked.
And this is anyways easier for QSBs as well, right?
Yes.
As anyways they continue to do the reporting on init, so nothing changes for them. So it's more of a status quo. You'll have to continue reporting into the init platform, and the inspection team internally, you know, they are able to get a feed from init, which will help fetching all the necessary information which they need to.
Yes.
So thank you, Renu. Moving on next, we still have few more minutes. If there are any further questions, please do post. But just moving on next, from I think we have from Kotak Securities, updated risk management policy and minutes of risk management committee meetings to be submitted to the exchange within 45 days from end of the half year. Since it's applicable from 1st July 2023, first submission will be due on 15th November or 15th February 2020.
So first, because it is applicable from July, and this quarter they'll have to do. So first submission will be due from 15th of November.
15th of November. Okay, that answers. We have one more question. A monthly report from CISO needs board approval, or does it need a board approval, or is it a mere submission? This is from RKSV Securities India Private Limited.
So any report which CISO is preparing, they need to submit to the board, and post which only it has to come to the exchange.
Okay. So yeah, I think this clarifies. I think we have managed to cover all around 25 odd questions. Just 1 second. One second. We're just trying to check if there is any further feed. Okay, so I think we have got 3 more questions. Can the stock exchange look at the possibility of requiring members to submit the requirements under QSB to one stock exchange and not mandate that to be done across all the stock exchanges?
See, in fact, for all other reportings also, we are looking at common portal, SEBI. So let us see if that works out, and we have a common portal for everyone. Then we can.
Somebody said exploration stage right now.
Yeah.
It's at an exploration stage.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll come back. Thanks for raising that question. As you have noted, we are already in discussion with other intermediaries, other stock exchanges, and as we have further clarity, we'll come back. So the next question here is, do these committees, this is 8.1.2, I think, maybe this is pertaining to Kotak itself. Do the committees need to have members of the board of QSB, or can members who are experts in the field who are not part of the board of QSB?
I think you already answered that question.
Yeah, we have clarified this earlier.
It could be a mix of
both. Yeah, this has been addressed. The next question here is, QSBs are required to have investor service centers in all cities where they have branches. Are the AP offices considered branches or just brokers' own branches? Please clarify.
See, ideally, I would suggest, although the circular says that wherever they have branches, but AP also is considered as branch only. So ideally, they should have office there as well, wherein they are supporting the investors.
Okay, so that's also included. Okay, thanks. We have next question from Nuama, from Mr. Pranav. Members are required to place details of internal financial control and financial risks before the audit committee board on a quarterly basis. What exactly is the expectations? What needs to be placed?
So whenever these financial statements, etc., as per LODR exactly, they have to place all this before the audit committee.
Right.
And wherever the brokers are not listed ones, then they have to directly place it to the board.
Thanks, Renu. This clarifies. Another question from Noama. Members are required to, okay, I think it's a similar question that we have got. So just moving on. Another question here from Zeroda. Generating surveillance alert for clients having higher paying obligations versus UCC income data. Can you please brief if this is applicable for derivatives only, or what does paying obligation mean here?
See, actually it is applicable for both.
All segments.
All segments.
It's basically a cumulative paying obligation. So it cannot be looked at only segment level. It's across segments, how much is the paying obligation for the client, and how does that fare with the income details they have fixed, right? The broker has got from the client.
So it includes everything, okay, and not restricted to a particular segment. Thanks, Piyush. Just moving on to next, I think again this is from RKSV Securities. What details required as a part of financial status of the entity? Nature kind of reporting required with regards to internal financial controls and financial risk management systems and measures of strengthening the same. Appreciate if you can confirm the format with respect to declarations and certifications by CFO / analogous person.
See, so currently we have not prescribed any format, but we will look into it, as you are saying that there should be a standard format across so that anybody is not reporting as per their choice. So we'll see and we will communicate to the QSBs.
Okay. So Priyanka, you must have heard this. Thanks for raising this particular point. We are trying to finalize a specific format, and once that is done, we should be able to relay the same. We'll get back to you. Just moving on to the next question. This is from Angel One. QSB circular talks about formation of multiple committees such as technical, cyber security and information technology committee. Can a QSB have a single committee as global tech committee, or whatever the name is called, the nomenclature aside, which ensures the responsibility of all these three committees are addressed?
I think we know answer in different way, that you cannot have same composition for all such committees.
For all such
that means that you have to have separate committees.
Separate committees. Okay. The single committee, considering some of the entities are listed, there are independent directors, and it becomes difficult to have multiple committees and multiple meetings. Any thoughts around this?
But since these have been identified, work of IT committee is different and cyber is different. So as they have to constitute two committees, and experts they can hire to get experience from market.
Seek support or seek help.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. With this, I think probably we'll just probably give it another 30 seconds. I think we are good. We have tried to answer all the questions possible. If there are still any further questions, feel free to reach out. As we mentioned earlier in the beginning of the session, the idea here is to conduct these kind of sessions on a more frequent basis, reach out to you and seek your feedback. While we continue to do one-on-one and in-person meetings, we'll be holding these webinars in continuation with our endeavor to seek more and more feedback and see what are the areas of improvement. Okay, so thanks everyone for joining us and tuning into this particular session. And thank you to all the members who have posted the questions. We are very grateful to receive all these questions and hope we are able to meet your expectations. So thank you everyone. Thanks Renu, thanks Piyush for taking time out.
Thank you.
It was indeed a good session.